Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan here with Lister Pros TV, and today on Real Estate Pros we have a special guest, Patrick Lewis of D. Patrick Lewis, if you're searching him on Facebook. Realty Executives. He's currently the Regional Development Director, but also holds several other titles in the real estate industry here in Arizona. You're gonna be the president of the Arizona Association of Realtors.
Yeah, in 2019. I'm currently the first vice president. Yeah, honor and a privilege to serve.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Patrick.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on. Now we'll just give you a couple minutes to introduce yourself. How'd you get into real estate? What's this all about?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I've been in real estate now about 15 years. I'm born and raised here in the Valley. In a previous life, I was a technical headhunter.
What do you do as a technical headhunter?
Technical headhunter, companies would hire me to go into other companies and headhunt out people with specific skill sets that they needed for different types of contracts. And so I did a lot of that when I was younger.
So you would wine and dine people to get them to...
Yeah, and a lot of phone work. Phone work. So that was back in the 90s, and I also ran restaurants for a little while. I find the hospitality industry is one of the best training grounds for any type of customer service or service-oriented type of industry. And I had moved out to North Carolina, was doing some headhunting out there, and that is where I met my wife. Fortunately, and she, when I brought her back out to Phoenix, I had not had a lot of experience with real estate agents and things like that. And so when I brought her back out to Phoenix, I was showing her around town. And my father was an architect here in town for about 40 years. So I grew up on job sites and around a lot of construction. So just took her around, showed her different things, and she said, "You know what? You should be in real estate." And it just made sense. I was like, you are absolutely right. I should be in real estate. I went and got my real estate license in April of 2002 and been doing it ever since. So I'm fortunate enough that I've served in a lot of different committees and capacities for the Scottsdale Area Association of Realtors. It was a privilege to be chairman of the board there in 2014. And then I have started my way up as a line officer for the state association. So I'll be president of that in 2019. And then I also sit on the ARMLS rules committee as well. So try and stay involved.
It sounds like you're very involved in real estate. Out of curiosity, what were you doing when your wife said that you would be good at real estate?
Nothing. I had the bubble had burst, kind of late 90s there, or right around 2000. September 11 happened. Just everything. The dot-com bubble and all of that. So I had gotten laid off at the time and was kind of struggling with direction and what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? That kind of thing. And fortunately, my wife had just the right idea, and when she said it, like I said, it just made sense.
So having been in the real estate industry for 15 years, what's the difference between real estate in 2017 versus 2002?
Oh, wow. There's so much. I mean...
You had flip phones.
Completely. When I got my Palm Trio...
Oh man, I had that phone too, right? Like back in 06.
And I could get email on my phone. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
And you had the full keyboard too,
totally,
right?
Totally. Had the full keyboard, had to really learn how to type on that. I mean, we had just changed really to an online MLS in 2002, and we had still had dot matrix printers in the office, so yeah, exactly. So you're sitting there on a phone, and just hearing and you got to peel the sides off, that kind of thing. So it was a great market though. I got to experience really the normal market for a while where real estate was a long-term investment. People needed 20% down. And that was great. That's kind of where I learned to build my business. But in 2005, it was just mayhem, and you need a house, great, let's go and so I then during the downturn, and I did what I had to do, and I worked in the REO market, and I did some evictions for banks and that kind of thing, and it was soul sucking work.
Out
totally. It was not fun, but I at that point working, pretty much as a realtor, you work for yourself. You work for a broker, but you're really your own boss. You're 1099, and
right.
I think I would have made a horrible employee at that time. So I just kind of kept on with real estate as best I could. So haven't seen a normal market, and it's starting to normalize now.
Do you feel like it's kind of normalizing?
Yeah, I feel like it's getting much better. It's starting to plateau out. It seems like
people are like, "Oh, are we in another bubble?" You see like those shiny titles.
Totally.
It's like, are we?
I get it. I think for a lot of buyers, because of the low inventory situation, it feels like a bubble. There are plenty of people a lot smarter than me that have pointed out that we are not in a bubble. There are no signs like there were back in 2005. Actually, the signs in hindsight now. But we don't see any of that. And honestly, if I was starting to see the really crazy lending products coming out, I would probably be a little concerned about.
But it does seem like lending criteria is starting to loosen up a little bit. Not to the extent that you have a pulse and you're approved. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, we're not getting to stated income or anything like that. I do agree. There's definitely the lenders are trying to accommodate as best they can, but it's a frustrating situation out there, especially under 500,000 right now. Inventory is so low in those areas, and if it's nice, it's flying fast. And so I get why it feels like and so that puts a lot of upward pressure on prices, and that's really I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of upward pressure. And I think the refinance boom over the last year really hurt us a little bit because most people refinanced at 3%. Interest rates are about 4.25 now, and that scares people off a little bit. It's still historically low. When I bought my house 15 years ago, I was thrilled to get 7.25. I mean, thrilled. And so to hear people be like, "Oh, it's 4.25. I'm not sure I can do that." I'm like, all right, people, let's get some historical perspective on interest rates. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing that interest rates are creeping up just a little bit. It shows that we have confidence in our economy, and I think that is paramount.
Yeah.
But I do see the attitude on real estate changing a lot from a consumer standpoint too, as it's turning more into a long-term hold.
Right.
It's not, somehow in the last 15 years, real estate's morphed into, well, I'll hold it for 3 years. And then sell it and make enough on it, and I'm hoping we're returning to those. Real estate's always been a long-term investment.
Sure,
I think it should continue to be that way
instead of just like a bunch of short-term.
Yeah, it's much harder to flip it on the short term. Exactly.
So today we're talking about reaching your target audience.
Yeah.
So Patrick, tell us a little bit about how do we reach target audiences?
Oh man. Well, I think
do we just do Facebook boost posts and it just goes totally out to 7-year-olds?
Automagically, man. It just happens. The leads will start flowing in. As we talked a little bit about, I got a whole lot of what not to do. But I think where I know a lot of realtors have sometimes fallen down in those marketing and areas is not having a full comprehensive strategy of what exactly is the audience they're trying to reach. What are, if for instance they're doing an item of value inbound type lead generation, is that item of value, what age group is that targeted towards? What is your audience for those types of things? Is the font reflective of that? Is the imagery, the verbiage? All of those things matter to people, whether they recognize it or not, but all of it matters in a marketing strategy. And so I think that's where you need to have that overall strategy and understanding of exactly where you want to go with it. I think too often we get in, I'm just going to run some lead gen ads, and not a lot of thought into the audience and into exactly how you're going to reach and effectively give them something that is an item of value. What is what do they need? What is that pain point that you can help that is where I see a lot of times. I know that's where I've fallen down a lot, and sometimes it's also just not knowing or having the resources of where to get some of that marketing ability. I know for years I struggled with just the imagery of, do I hire a graphic designer? How do I get this done? All that kind of thing. It's honestly one of the reasons that one of the many reasons I love Realty Executives, because we have those graphic designers there when I need ads done, when I need things like that.
Right.
We have it in-house, and they can help provide that. So it just makes my marketing better.
Yeah.
I think those are the types of things that are needed, and it needs to be a very thoughtful process when you're going into the marketing.
So specifically, you were talking about fonts. So have you found that a specific font works better for different target audiences?
Yes.
Do you want like a luxury font for this, or like a playful or more professional?
Absolutely. Not only for the different price ranges, but for your different audiences. I find the fonts and things that baby boomers react to are different than the fonts and imagery that quote unquote millennials will interact with. And so I think that when you're looking at those, you have to look at, for instance, how does AARP do some of their marketing? That their target audience is an older target audience. What is the imagery they're using? What are some of the fun? I take my clues from marketing that's already working.
They've spent millions of dollars on their marketing. You might as well take a few pointers.
Exactly. That I think you have to always be studying. Even when I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, it is when I see a sponsored ad that I almost tap because I'm like, oh, it looks like a post. Well, what are the elements of that made it look like a post? The verbiage on that tagline and the way they phrased it, and then the imagery that's there and the hook. All of those things people react to and they see it. I don't know that they're always conscious that it moves them, but those are the things that I look at. I'm constantly looking at marketing and advertising in different areas, not necessarily the real estate world, to learn from. How can I make my marketing better by learning from the millions of dollars they've invested in their marketing?
And when you're marketing towards millennials, you see a lot of people that are kind of they look at Apple, they're clean fonts. Is this what, from your experience, what you see with targeting with millennials? Or
I find with millennials, and first of all, I hate grouping a large group of people into, I don't think you can paint them with one stroke of the brush.
I personally like the baby boomer.
I get it.
Fonts, okay?
Yeah, absolutely, right? It's just because you're old at heart. It's fine, But I think that, with the younger crowd, there is definitely the cleaner fonts seem to work a lot better. But I find with that, it is the messaging and the imagery. If you look at the world that younger people interact with, it is very image-based. I mean, you look at the fonts not only the fonts, but the app icons on your phone. I mean, most people could pick those out without the words underneath it. And so I find that the imagery for younger people, is much more. You can grab them a lot better that way with good imagery and a good message, because that I find is oftentimes what millennials are looking for. So I concentrate a lot on that. But regardless, video I think is the way to go, and more people need to do video, use video in their ads and that kind of thing.
Why do you think so many people are hesitant to use video? Because I think video is kind of at its prime right now. People have been talking like, video for like the past, I would say 3 or 4 years. It's been kind of like, video.
Absolutely.
Since you have Facebook Live, that's been out for about 2 years. But before that, there was video. I don't remember exactly when they started enabling video, but man, we're at scale with video right now. But anyway,
well, let me just address that really quick. I think I know when I started to get into video, what was intimidating for me was the flow of the video. What exactly am I going to say? So I started storyboarding my videos.
Man, you got into it.
Well, I had to, because I started doing a couple videos and I was just lost. I was like, it just wasn't fluid. And when you look at the things that work for other companies, again, or things that are on point, that get a lot of reaction, they are usually clear, concise, and they're simple. But it takes an amazing amount of work to make something simple. or to seem simple. And so, that's where I think some agents really, the overall, again, strategy with the video and the storyboarding and where are you going with it and what audience do you want to reach and what is the message, and then most importantly, what is the call to action?
Sure.
That is
like what do you want to get out of it?
Exactly. That call to action, that ability to gather the lead, that type of thing. That's those are the most important pieces and the most important details that I think are a lot of times overlooked.
Correct. I would have to agree. I think a lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm going to do video," and then they just do video. But
Right.
you got to kind of think about all these variables that you're talking about
Totally.
for something to actually be successful. Now, you may just be able to create a video and take a shot in the dark, and it does really well for some reason, but you
Right.
don't really know why.
Exactly. And honestly, if anything, if you're going to be shooting video, spend $20 and get a lav mic that plugs into your smartphone.
Oh yeah,
please,
100%.
please, because
That's
when you
the
are
worst.
10 feet away, I cannot hear you over the wind blowing by your phone. You know what I mean? So I just think that those
I can
are,
get over bad video.
Exactly.
Like if the video is kind of pixelated, whatever. But if it's bad, if it's the best video, but the
Right.
audio is that is the fastest way to kill a video.
Totally. Well, and honestly, sometimes when I'm watching videos, they're in the background, so I'm just listening to them. And if I have to try to close my eyes so that I could hear through everything, try to hear what you're saying, that's a tough sell.
Nah.
So go buy, it's $20. They're on Amazon. They're lav mics. They plug into your cell phone. They even have extension cords. They're great.
Yeah, they even make some that are battery powered. I
Right.
know about this, and they're like 20 feet long, so you can get pretty far away.
Exactly.
Talk about your latest listing, or
Right.
whatever you want to do.
And where are you going to walk in your listing? And who's going to, just all that kind of overall strategy. I think that's where we always need help.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about staying relevant in a changing marketplace, because we know that real estate's always been evolving, I think, but it seems like it's evolving faster now that kind of technology is caught up. And
Absolutely.
anyway, so talk to us a little bit about how you feel that real estate agents can stay relevant in a changing marketplace.
Wow. Well, I having been in the business 15 years, and even when I had my Palm Trio and all that, we still had quote unquote disruptors coming into the market, trying to make it easier for sellers, flat fees, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I mean, in the 15 years I've been in the business, the real estate industry has been under fire. And, so I think there are always going to be business models, different business models that people are going to try. Some work, some don't. Some resonate with consumers, some don't. Some work in an up market, some do not. It's once that market turns, they tend to go away pretty quickly. Either way, I believe that all of those are a call to realtors, to the real estate industry, to up our game, to get better at our customer service, better at our customer experience, do better at solving pain points for the consumer, and make sure that we can articulate and talk about our value proposition and the value that we bring to not just the ability to find a home, but the transaction, the professionalism, the experience. There are over 90 pages that can be used with the Arizona real estate residential purchase contract. I know all of them, and I know the timelines. And something that an app can't do is reach across the table and put my hand on your arm or look you in the eye and tell you, I understand that it's tough right now, but it's going to get better.
Sure.
That is the best thing that I can do for my clients. There is not an app or a call center that can take place of that human interaction. And I think if you look at stocks or the day trading that is kind of that came up 15 years ago, people still use stockbrokers because they need the professionalism, they need the guidance and the experience, because it is incredibly hard to do it on their own.
Sure.
So I think there will always be disruptors. I think there will always be people wanting to try and change the industry. But again, there is nothing that can replace my experience, the hundreds of contracts that I've seen and negotiated, and nothing can replace that. So I think it's a call to us to really up our game.
So we were talking earlier about for the consumer, it's a value exchange, right? You get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Now there are these real estate agents that don't do too much, and they seem to get overpaid, and they kind of make a bad reputation for the rest of us. So how, when you have these flat fee companies come in and they'll offer the same or claim to offer the same level of service, maybe even better marketing plan than others, how can real estate agents have continue to increase their value proposition to stay relevant, and be worth their paycheck,
Yeah. I think that is my mentor when I first got in the business is he taught me I never ever want a client to look at that settlement statement and wonder, did he earn that?
Right.
So for me, I think some of that is perception. Some of that is our ability to articulate our value. Very much like an attorney, we shield our clients from an incredible amount of liability. We carry E&O insurance for a reason and things like that. So, I think when you are up against people like that or other companies, you always have to keep in mind that you're not going to win everybody. You're just not, and that's okay. But you need to go in there with the best customer service and the best marketing plan that you can come up with. And I find that you can create those through seller questionnaires oftentimes. I think the most important thing we need to do is find out exactly what does our client want. And how can we best help them, and how can we best be of service? Because how we help one client is not going to work for another client. And in 15 years and hundreds of transactions, I have never had two that were the same, ever. And so the best thing we can do is try and be flexible and try and accommodate those customers and do what we can to take a pain point away. I mean, that's ultimately what they're looking for, is somebody that is honest. That the number one thing a consumer looks for in an agent is trustworthiness. So what can I do to help convey my competence and help build that trust? And the best way to do that is to help them solve problems. I believe.
Absolutely. I guess you're a problem solver as a real estate. I guess I've seen some memes come to mind that anyways. But
hey, there's always I think there's always that perception, right? There's always the perception that, and I see it all the time with new agents too. Oh well, I have my license. Where is my wheelbarrow of cash?
Yeah.
And that is just not. That's not the way it goes.
Isn't that why 90% of people get into the real estate industry? They see somebody post a picture. Oh, this is so easy.
That's exactly it. But I think what most people don't understand is we are our own marketing department and human resource department and complaint department, and we are self-contained companies in a lot of ways. And so we just have to continue to up our game and evolve and not hide behind, not distract ourselves with conversations about professionalism in the industry and things like that. I think professionalism is extremely important, but it is a mindset. You can be a part-time agent and still be extremely professional. I think the way that we continue to be good as a industry is to support one another. Is when you have an agent on that other side of the transaction that maybe they're struggling, maybe they have stuff going on with their family that is just something that they can't handle. Maybe they need help. When was the last time, instead of hanging up the phone and saying, "Man, this guy's an idiot, and I don't want to deal with him anymore," how can I help you? We both want to get this deal closed. I'm a professional, you're a professional. How can I help you? I know it's tough. Are you going through a tough time? Just try and help one another. I think that is the way that we continue to lift up the industry. We continue to lift up one another. And I know that sounds really touchy-feely, but I believe that professionals help one another. Professionals invest in their industry, and I think that that's more of the direction we need to go.
Yeah. I would have to agree. So why choose Realty Executives?
Oh, man.
Why did you choose Realty Executives? And then why should agents choose Realty Executives?
Sure. Well, I chose Realty Executives for a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm born and raised here in the Valley. So, they've been in the Valley over 50 years. The brand recognition with folks that live here is amazing. We are continually looked at as the most respected brand, according to the consumer, in Phoenix. And so we obviously, that was big for me, being born and raised here. I've grown up seeing Realty Executives signs around the valley.
Have
and
they
that kind
changed?
of thing.
Has the logo always kind of been similar?
The logo's always been that shield.
The shield, yeah.
It's been that way for as long as I can remember. They're in Scottsdale, so
that's where the headquarters
That's
are.
where the international headquarters is. And Realty Executives Phoenix is actually at 7th Street in Missouri. And so in the new Uptown office, and it's awesome. So a couple of the other reasons, we have 11 offices across Phoenix. I liked that no matter where I go or where I go to meet clients, I always have an office that I can use. That's incredibly important. Don't get me wrong. I like going into a Starbucks once in a while, but I got a thing with unsecure Wi-Fi.
Sure.
And using my passwords on it. So it's amazing to have all the offices nearby. As I talked about earlier, the ability to have the marketing assistants in-house that we can have really a full marketing department at your disposal to get those materials easy. And then they're a fee-based company, so it's a monthly fee type of company. And for me, that just made sense. I appreciate that. And once I met the owners, Jeff and Joel, that was it for me. They care incredibly about the company and about the agents. Culture is big for me. And so to have a culture of caring, to have a culture of helping one another, plays right into my wheelhouse. So for me, it was the move to make, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And I hope to be there for a really long time.
So why do new agents, I'm sure you guys ask them, so why did you choose Realty Executives over all the other options out there in the Valley right now? What are they saying? And then can you get a little more specific into the split structure? I'm curious.
Yeah. So our message really with our new agents, we have a pretty great mentoring program that we're putting together. So when you come in as a new agent, it's not just welcome to the company, here you go. Sink or swim, but we truly follow up with especially the new agents, make sure that they know that we're there, that they have support, that we can help guide them, that they have somebody they can talk to. We have 2 managing brokers and designated broker, and they are all amazing, and they actually do after hours a rotating call. So if you call after hours, or your buyer now wants to write an offer that Saturday afternoon, and you're not sure what to do, and you have questions, you have somebody you can always get a hold of. To us, that is paramount when you're starting out. You need support. You need those things that can help build confidence in your own skills, and you need that ability to be able to, again, to articulate that value. So, and then as far as the splits, I would invite anybody to reach out and chat with me.
Sure.
For me, I like the $300 a month plan. It's $300 a month. I pay a $225 transaction fee, and that's it. I mean, and so I know exactly what. I can build that fee into the transaction, but monthly I know exactly what my fees are going to be. And so when I do my business plan at the end of at the beginning of every year, I know what those expenses are. So I can do the best possible amount of planning. And that's why I've generally always worked for those types of companies. And I find it to be just an outstanding organization to work for, and what they're doing with the new offices and all of that. If you haven't checked out some of the new offices, just the design, the openness, it's a very open concept. It's very, uptown, we have a nice little open kitchen, a foosball table, and we want it to be someplace that you can come and learn, but still enjoy yourself.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be a stuffy office that everybody sits around in a suit and tie. And
right. I like the idea of having 11 locations around the valley. That would make it really convenient of an agent who is covering the valley. Because even working East Valley only or West Valley only, you'll get the occasional client from another side of town, and maybe you don't want to refer that off to another. Maybe it's a really good friend and you want to keep it instead of referring it. You have the infrastructure to be able to stop in and.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially as a new agent, we always tell people to farm and really concentrate on one area. But as a new agent, you just got out of school, you just paid your dues to the association, you just paid your ARMLS dues, you just did all these things. you want to make some money.
Right.
And so we totally get that. And so the ability, to meet somebody in Chandler, or to meet somebody on the West Side or Central Phoenix, or wherever I am, to be able to have that where I can meet them in a Realty Executives office is awesome.
It goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Professional
Absolutely.
Meet me at Starbucks.
There's no doubt. I mean, I am all about meeting people at Starbucks. I'm good with that. But there are some clients that I'm just like,
Let's talk about your $1 million house right here in front of everybody.
Right, exactly. Or and I got to talk over the barista that's yelling out for, whoever's latte. I'm just I got to compete with a lot of things where, and in office, I don't.
Makes a lot of sense. Awesome. So, Patrick, if somebody's watching, they're considering maybe moving or interested in learning more about Realty Executives, how do they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can find me a lot of different ways. You can just Google D. Patrick Lewis. You will find 1,000 different ways to get a hold of me. But my phone number, you can always reach me at 602-697-6670. You can email me at patrick@aroundscottsdale.com. Twitter, D. Patrick Lewis. Facebook, whatever. I'm all over the place, so pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come on to Real Estate Pros and talk about your expertise here as a regional development director and also the future Arizona
Association of Realtors president.
There we go.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Patrick, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.